You're listening to a special presentation from Night of the Living podcast, Zoned Out, The Twilight Zone, Revisited with Joe and Freddie. Oh, boy, oh.
Hi, Freddie.
Hey there. We're going to be talking about a nice place to visit today.
Yes. A nice place to visit might be a chiropractor's office because my back is tweaked. But,
Yeah.
right now it's going to be this episode.
Every break, we'll just talk about our aging bodies during every break. That's how it works.
So entertaining.
So this is original air date, April 15, 1960. This is the fifth of 12 episodes directed by John Brum. And we talked about him when we discussed Time Enough at Last, Judgment Night, The Four of Us Are Dying, and Mirror Image. And more to come. If you want to know more about John Brum, I would say just listen to the Time Enough at Last episode, because I think that was the earliest one that he directed, and we probably shared most of his information then. And then this is the fourth of 22 episodes written by Charles Beaumont. I can't speak today. He also had written Beaumont, Perchance to Dream, Elegy, and Long Live Walter Jameson. So again, same deal. If you want to hear more about Beaumont, I would suggest the Perchance to Dream episode of the podcast. Cast of 18, including Serling. All right, here's our characters. Henry Francis Rocky Valentine. This is our main kind of dirtbag character. First of two appearances from Larry Blyden. He's going to come back in season 3's Showdown with Rance McGrew. TV and film actor, best known for On a Clear Day You Can See Forever and Kane's 100. He was an antique collector, travel all over the world to find stuff, kind of like Indiana Jones. If it were more civilized and antiquing, probably. He was looking for this dig in Morocco, and he was killed at 49. I'm not sure what happened.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure I could probably find that out, but I just know that he was looking for this dig when he was killed. I'm assuming an accident. And he, he was carjacked. That's right. I did find that information. See, this is what happens when you wait too long to read your notes. He was carjacked by bandits who, I guess, killed him.
Jeez.
And then his family found out several days later. He was close friends with Rip Torn, who is so goddamn funny. If you're not a Rip Torn fan, I suggest just watch any Rip Torn anything. He's a national treasure. Mr. Pitt. Did Rip Torn die? I can't remember.
I
if he's
think
alive.
So.
Yeah, I feel like he did.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Then we got Mr. Pip, who is our ethereal, otherworldly character. This is English Disney voice actor Sebastian Cabot, who, if you've seen The Jungle Book, he was the Panther, I believe, in that. The Sword and the Stone, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. He's the narrator of that. He was also the butler on Family Affair, which is a classic TV sitcom that probably nobody knows anymore. I don't even think it's syndicated anywhere, but it was very popular at the time.
By the way, Rip Torn has passed away 2019, unfortunately. 2019. Most people would know him as the head of MIB in the Men in Black movies.
Or from 30 Rock.
A very distinctive voice.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
He's so good. He was Larry Sanders Show regular on that. Very, very good.
Gotcha.
He's so funny. Freddie got fingered. He was Freddie's dad. So Mr. Pip, we were talking about Sebastian Cabot. After leaving school at 14, he never had any more formal education after 14 years old. He worked as a chef, is how he got so big, he says, because he worked as a chef and liked to eat. So he was my size, 260. He's probably shorter than me. Everyone was shorter back then. And spent 3 years as a professional wrestler in London. And then in World War II, I don't know if he was, for some reason, before World War II, he was a wrestler, and after he wasn't, and there's an injury in between. I don't know if that's related.
I love the professional wrestling in mixed, I was a chef, professional wrestler, an actor, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you do.
Just all over, whatever jobs work. Then there's the character who's not named, Cop, the cop. This is the first of 2 episodes for John Close. He's going to return in season 2 in Shadow Play. I know him from The Day the Earth Stood Still and Them, the giant ant movie. So he's got some creds. And again, a young death, died in a car accident at 42.
Dang.
So odds and ends about this one. This one was in trouble with, practices because it had too much innuendo in it, talking about ladies' bodies and stuff. Which is Blyden. You can still tell he's gross. You don't need him to say it specifically. I think they got the point across that he was very lecherous and greedy.
He's really good at the sleazy character he's playing. I mean, he stayed. I don't want to say he stayed in character the whole time. Obviously, he did, but like, I toss in some of the references he makes to Screw, and some of the other games and stuff. But like, there's some great language in this one of old timey, see,
sort of like James Cagney type stuff.
But like in the comedy sense, yeah.
Oh, here's funny thing. So one of the original lines in the episode is there anything else I can do for you? You remember this moment where the woman is insinuating nothing's off the table. The comment was listed on IMDb in the trivia that the CBS practices person's comment was, please be certain that the girl's third speech be delivered in a sweet manner as described. So I don't know. They just didn't want it to be too obviously sexual. That I think they lost that comment. I don't think that comment was followed up on because it's clear what's going on.
Yeah.
Or I have a dirty mind, one or the other. Probably both.
Even for 1960, this was pretty clearly spelled out.
Yeah.
I actually allude to it at one point too, so we'll get to that.
So Rocky, he tells Mr. Pip, who is one of his many wishes, he wants $1 million in 5G notes. Those are $5,000 bills. And they last printed them in 1945, and they were still in circulation until 60, the year of this episode. $1 million in 5G notes would be 200 bills. Only 200 bills. That's like 2 bank straps. It's like that thick.
It's crazy that they still were doing them up until 1945. You said?
Yeah, I know. Wow. I think originally they were meant for international commerce, but I'm not. I think that was the purpose of them. Anywho, I thought that was really interesting. The slot machine we see in this episode was used in The Fever. It's the slot machine that comes after. Yeah, they reused that.
What's the guy's name?
Oh, I can't remember.
Something.
Yeah, I want to say Walter, but I don't know if that's right.
I'm gonna look it up now. Gotta
know. So the only screen credits provided in this episode, even though there are many other actors in it, are for the 2 main actors, Cabot, and Blyden. So that's all the little background stuff I have on this episode. So I'm ready for you to tell us a tale.
By the way, for those of you who are fans of our digressions, I was just looking on Rip Torn, and it was like, why wasn't Rip Torn in MIB3? Well, it was because he broke into a bank wielding a firearm, and was arrested, and that's why he wasn't in MIB3. So
was that
the more you know?
That might have been. I wonder if that was a mental health thing or if, what was going on there.
I have no idea. That's got to be something, because
that's our.
By the way, the slot machine was Franklin.
That's right.
Yes. Oh God, it's so classic. It's so creepy too. All right, so we start off, and there is a secondhand store, pawn shop being cased, and it's nighttime, and there's a flashlight flipping around in there, and we hear the voiceover of Mr. Serling go, "Portrait of a man at work. The only work he's ever done. The only work he knows. His name is Henry Francis Valentine, but he calls himself Rocky because that's the way his life has been. Rocky and perilous and uphill at a dead run all the way. He's tired now, tired of running or wanting, of wanting and waiting for the breaks that come to others, but never to him, never to Rocky Valentine. And then there's a scene where he hears the sirens coming and he runs out of the shop and drops the stuff he just stole accidentally, and so he takes off running, and the cops are in a cop car actively shooting at him without anything, just like shooting at him running down the road. And then he gets around the corner to the alley, and you hear a cop yell, "Stop, I'll shoot," or something like that. And Valentine yells up, "Not this time, you lousy screw," as he's climbing over the fence. And then it's, and he gets shot like 5 times and falls down. Well, what I found out, and I've always been curious about this, is that screw was sometimes slang for a key. And so there's a couple of different etymologies for this. Excuse me. Etymology being the origin of the word. And so the screws were sometimes slang for keys, and the prison guards or police who handled those keys were often referred to as screws. Also, in the Victorian era, some prisoners were forced to be punished by turning a large crank on a machine, like forced labor. And the prison guards,
large crank.
The prison guards who adjusted the tightness of the handles and thus the difficulty of the punishment were nicknamed screws as well. So who knows what the origin is?
I guess you also could put the screws to somebody, like where they said they put thumb screws on you to torture you.
Right. Putting the screws on somebody.
Feels like screw. I feel like that it makes a lot of sense now. Him calling him a screw.
You know, it comes up again later, so we'll reference that.
Yeah.
And then the voiceover continues. It's another one of those split voiceovers that I always enjoy. A scared, angry little man. He thinks it's all over now, but he's wrong. For Rocky Valentine, it's just the beginning. And then we have a clipped commercial comes back, and Mr. Valentine is being called by another voice, and he wakes up to see himself unharmed as an old white-haired and white-suited gentleman greets him. And he says, "My name is Pip." By the way, did a little research. As far as I can tell, there's no direct reason why he's called Pip or what that reference is. So your guess is as good as ours.
I feel like it sounds kind of fantasy, almost Shakespearean in a way.
Right. Well, Pip the Troll from comic books. Pip in Midsummer Night's Dream.
Is that
the name of the? Oh, Puck. That's right.
But no, it has that vibe, right? It has that Shakespeare vibe. Yeah.
Totally. And so it's kind of funny. At one point, Valentine's trying to come out of this, and he's like, "What's going on?" And Pip says, the subtitle said, "You had a slight accident," and what the actor actually sounds like he says is, "You had a slight action," and I was like, I'm not sure what that means.
You had a little accident. You went messy-wessy in your pantsy-wancy.
Well, there is a reference to Mumbly Peg in just a second. So,
yeah.
So basically, Pip explains to him, "Hey, I've been instructed to be a guide of sorts for you and give you whatever you want." And of course, Rocky or Valentine's like, "You're trying to mess with me," so he's constantly on guard, and so they kind of go back and forth, and he's like, "Let me tell you, Fatso." He's quite derogatory to this guy. "Let me tell you, Fatso, I don't like games." And Pip says, "Oh, that isn't true, Mr. Valentine. Why, you like roulette, blackjack, poker, craps, and between the ages of 7 and 10, you are quite fond of Mumbly Peg."
What is Mumbly Peg?
What the hell is Mumbly Peg? So Apparently, Mumbly Peg, this is great, is an old outdoor game played with a pocket knife. The game involves flipping a knife on the ground and attempting to have it stand upright.
Oh, I've done that.
And I guess you have to do it a number of times or something. And whatever the result is, whoever the winner is, the winner drives a peg into the ground and the loser has to pull it out with their teeth. A task that apparently involves a lot of mumbling. Yes, I was like, this has got to be made up. Nope, this is a thing.
So it's funny. I'm like, this sounds familiar as a childhood game until you got to the dirt peg.
Right. The pocket knife thing, like, it's funny. It didn't occur to me until I was doing this research that a lot of people like my age and younger all carried pocket knives.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people into adulthood carried pocket knives and just had them on them. I know a lot of my family who lives in more rural areas almost always have a pocket knife on them.
Yeah, I was taught to always have one with me.
Yeah. And then I thought about, oh yeah, that's why those people get so pissed off at the airport, because you can't do that. You know,
I quit carrying it on my person. When I started using a backpack all the time, I put it in there.
Oh yeah.
And then, like you said, traveling at a certain point, I just took it out because I was tired of having to remember to take it out before I would get on a plane.
Right. And then you get a whole barrel of them at the airport.
Yeah.
So it's just funny. A funny thing that occurred to me that just really isn't the case anymore. That used to be so much the case. I remember wanting to get my pocket knife so that it would be, my knife. That would be cool. It's just a weird thing that I totally forgotten about. Anyway, digression.
I still believe in a Swiss Army knife in every pocket, by the way.
Over the extent of the episode, Valentine calls Pip Fats, Fatso, Cracker, and Santa Claus, amongst other names.
He played Santa later on.
Oh, did he?
Pip did, yeah, in the remake, one of the remakes of Miracle on 34th Street, I think.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, like in the 70s or something.
So Rocky is going back and forth with Pip, and he's demanding he hands over his wallet, and Pip says, well, I don't carry one, but I think what you actually want is money. And so he just reaches into his pockets and pulls out just tons of money. And then Rocky, he gives it to Rocky. Rocky starts counting it. And he's like, this is $700. And he's like, you can have as much as you want. And Pip's like, thinking he's trying to recruit him for something. He's like, all right, let's keep going with this. And so Pip shows him to this beautiful luxury apartment. And this is a massive apartment.
Yeah.
There's like, of course it's a set, but it looks like there's like 30-foot ceilings and this place is enormous. And one little thing about the construction of the suite, there's one point later on in the episode where he goes to slam a door after he's ironically chasing some women out of his apartment, and he slams the door, and both the door and the double door next to it move, and so does the wall they're both attached to.
Yeah, when that happens, it's always like takes you out of it for just a second. You're like, that's a set. Whoops. Whoopsie daisy.
Right, exactly. It's that all right, well, okay. See a little behind the magic. So then there was a couple of other things that were kind of fun. He gets in this apartment, and Pip's kind of describing how he wanted to, he wasn't sure how Valentine would like it. And so he put the hi-fi system over there. And I was like, oh, hi-fi, that's another term that I know high fidelity, hi-fi, but what is that like back in those days versus something else, right? And so I realized, again, I'm uber digressing here, but hi-fi does stand for high fidelity, and it's just a high quality reproduction of sound that before kind of this time, most of the sound recordings were really poor quality and distorted, and you hear pops and cracks and all that stuff. The idea with a hi-fi system was that you're going to get as close to what the actual original sound was as possible. And what's interesting about that is that can be different from stereo, which again, for a long time, I didn't even realize, but that hi-fi could be mono could be one single recording of something that sounds really good, and stereo really refers to using at least two microphones to capture a sound that then you can control between those two channels of sound. And so, like, I didn't realize the Beatles, when they recorded all their stuff, and a lot of earlier artists, it was all designed to be listened to in mono. It's not intended to be a stereo where it's kind of bouncing back and forth, doing sound effects. You hear it a lot in more modern music, where you might hear a sound happen in your left ear that then you hear it kind of move over to your right ear or something like that, or the two sounds are separate. But all the Beatles, their stuff originally, again, just because they were popular during the transition time, was done primarily in mono, and then later they did it in stereo. So I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting. Do you any thoughts on that as a musician?
Yeah, I would say that there's also this whole, if you are a musician, you're familiar with this idea of phasing, which is a problem that arose with stereo. And I think if you're interested in the science of it, to read about stereo phasing and how that became, if you want to understand like how your ears work and your brain decoding audio, that's just a really interesting topic.
Very cool. Is that phasing? Is that where you're kind of picking up part of the sound from one side and it's canceling out the other side or something? Or
yeah, you're losing some of the audio to
Gotcha.
not having the polarity align correctly between the left and right. Yeah, it's wild
Interesting.
how our brains work.
We'll leave that to an audio podcast.
Yeah.
Back to the Twilight Zone. So Pip explains that basically the whole apartment and everything in it are Rocky's, and he can do whatever he wants, and he can change whatever he wants. And maybe you want to just kind of relax and have a shower and change out of those clothes. And so, you see Rocky start to relax a little bit, but he's still got his gun out, and he's still like, doesn't quite trust it. But then he does clean up, and he gets into a suit. And when he gets out of the finished dressing, Pip has some food for him, and at first he's really excited. He runs over to the table and sits down, and Pip's kind of dishing out the food for him, and he cuts it like he was about to take a bite, and then goes, nah, you eat it first. And Pip's like, oh, I don't eat. I haven't eaten for centuries, which is like a could be just a turn of phrase, or in this case could be something else.
It's the I don't drink wine moment.
Yes. And Rocky's like, oh, I see. It's fine to have me here and clean me up, but you're gonna poison me, huh? He's like, well, not if I take you out first. And so he shoots Pip with his gun from about 5 feet away. And the first time I saw this, I was like, whoa, that looks like it's actually kind of dangerous. But I think what they did, when you see the scene, he's very close to him. He's like within 10 feet. But I think what it is they did it slightly off angle in the camera.
That would make sense.
So that he was actually probably shooting way off to the right, and it just looks like he's shooting directly at Pip, because he's firing blanks, and there's like sparks flying and all that. And Pip's like not even flinching, just sitting there, and he's like, what the heck? And he turns his gun. He's like, well, maybe it's the, thinking that maybe it's the gun. He shoots a lamp, and then the lamp crumbles, and he's like, what's going on? And he realizes that his bullets are having no effect, and he's like, wait a minute. He's like, am I what? And he figured out that he's dead. Between a little conversation with Pip, he realizes that the cops are the ones who shot him. He's like, well, when you remember when you said you needed a help, like a hole in the head? He's like, well, you actually had a hole in the head, a bullet hole to be specific. And so as he realizes he's dead, he's like, I that means I gotta be in heaven, and this is heaven, and you're my guardian angel. So the actual dialogue that I wrote down went with this. He goes, Mr. Valentine, do you remember when we met earlier today? I told you I was, in a sense, your guide, and you said you needed a guide like a hole in the head. And Valentine goes, yeah. Well, as a matter of strict fact, you had a hole in your head only for a short time, a bullet hole. Yeah, Yeah, that's right. The cops, they must I must be dead. Mm-hmm. If I'm dead, then all this joint, the clothes, the booze, and then I must be in heaven. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm in heaven, right? You're my guardian angel, something like that. Oh, something like that, Mr. Valentine. And so it continues on, foreshadowing, that Pip looks at him kind of oddly but says, you know, well, you can have anything you want. So he asks for $1 million to your reform inference 5G notes, which he's like, okay. He asked him, and he asked for a beautiful woman. And the way he says it is just like, wow. So this is where I was like, okay, this is pretty extreme for 1960. He's like, and a chick that won't quit. I mean, just stacked.
Yeah.
Just and you can tell he's going like, I want huge. He's doing the hand motion from like Monty Python, like
jiggly.
huge tracts of land. And he's doing that motion over and over, and he's like, just like beautiful, huh? And of course, you know, Pip's like, sure, check in this drawer. And the drawer is full of $1 million, and he's like, what about the dame or something like that? And Pip goes, well, and he gestures toward the hi-fi system, and a record drops and music starts playing, and a woman appears from off screen and starts dancing with Rocky, and
I love this performance from her.
Oh yeah, she was great. She was just fantastic, and like through the rest of her scenes too. Keep an eye on her because she's very expressive, and she's
playing like she is, because this is his ideal. She wants to pay attention to every little detail that the men are saying.
Yeah.
It really does tell you that this is in Rocky's head. This is what he sees as the perfect woman, that she's hanging on every moment. It's pretty funny.
Totally. And I wonder if she's got a credit. I think she's credited as dancing girl, but
yeah, she was a real dancer. I can't remember the actor's name, but it's if you look at IMDb,
Barbara English, I think.
There you go.
So but she was great. So we jump to Rocky, and he's now down in the casino, and he's got 3 women around him, and he's at a roulette wheel, and he's doing all the stuff, and every time he keeps winning over and over and over again. And Valentine Pip comes up and is like, how are you doing? And he's like, I'm great. He's like, how about it? Is Rocky hot or is Rocky hot? And Pip's like, oh, Rocky's hot. Just like comes back again. Could be some foreshadowing. But and then he's just enjoying the heck out of it. He goes over and he's like, hey, dame, get me some more juice. He's doing all this language with the casino talk, and having that blonde woman count his money, 40,000 from the roulette table, and he said, what does he say? Something like, hey doll, this is 40 grand and I count real good, okay? So he sends her to cash it in, but he's like warning her that he's good at counting money.
Don't steal from me.
Right. But her expression, her face is priceless too. Like, she does this great, like, just exactly it's like the creepy male fantasy of like exactly what he wants.
Yeah. She has no agency at all, and she's kind of just gape mouth and
exactly giggly, and so then he runs over to goes over the slot machine, wins at that. He's winning everything. So cut to him, and he goes back to the room with the apartment, and he's got the 3 women with him, and Pip comes in and too, and he's leads the women into the bedroom. I mean, it's pretty blatant.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear.
It's a freak off.
Yeah, right. And he's like keeps talking about how excited he is, and he's like doing this grunting motion or sounds and stuff. And it's like it's real clear. Oh, I forgot to mention, before they head to the apartment, they come out of the casino, and this cop walks by, and it's a taller cop. The police officer is taller than Valentine, and Valentine's face just kind of sours, and Pip's like, "Is there something wrong?" And Valentine's like, "Yeah, that lousy screw over there."
These screws everywhere.
And, yeah, he thinks he's better than me because he's got a couple inches on me. And Pip's like, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. That was inconsiderate of me." And he, does a motion, and the cop comes back, and he's like a foot and a half shorter than Valentine now. And Valentine kind of smashes his hat down on him and kicks him in the butt away. And just weird. He's just
he's insecure about his height.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. So they get back to the apartment, the aforementioned leading into the bedroom, and then he says he wants to talk to Pip for just a second, and he's like trying to make sense of it in his head. He's like, "This is great, but how come they let me in here, huh? I thought this was only for school teachers and like that."
I love this exchange.
And Pip goes, "Oh, we have some school teachers here." And Valentine
Your
says,
Laterno types.
Yeah. There must have been something real good I done sometime, something that made up for everything else, huh? Yeah, that's it. But what? He's just kind of confused. And so he's trying to like figure out what he did, and he's like, Pip mentions that they have this hall of records that has records on all that stuff, so they could check it out. And Pip's like, and Valentine says, "Yeah, let's go do it. What, are they open this time of night?" And he's like, "They're always open." So they go to this hall of records, and it's totally weird. Like it's like it's outside, and
they're the staircase from Time Enough at Last.
I was wondering because it looks just like it.
Yeah.
And all these file cabinets and stuff. So they go out there, and they're looking at his records, and they start going through his life. And so Pip pulls it out and gives it to him, and he's like, "Valentine." And he's like, "Age of 6, slaughtered a small dog." It's like, whoa, that was dark.
Just for biting him, right?
And Valentine looks up and goes, "Well, why not? He bit me." Like, I don't get it. Why is that in here? Why wouldn't I have slaughtered him? Oh my gosh. So then it goes through like all these things, like petty crimes and bad stuff he did growing up. And he's like, he's like, I don't get it.
You know what this reminds me of, this moment in the episode, just real quick, is that the episode with the execution, the time traveler, where he pulls that character. These are kind of birds of a feather, the way that Rod Serling portrays thugs. It's very much this thing where they don't know, their lives are so bad they don't know right from wrong.
Right. Well, and they portray him as kind of, it's interesting. It's like having multidimensionality to a fairly one-dimensional character. They've never done anything good in their lives, but they don't understand why they're the bad guy. So, like, again, it's unfair to the character because they've never done anything good, so all the things they've done are bad. But then they're also kind of like, well, why is this is just how I live my life? What's the problem? Anyway,
my prerogative.
Do what I want to do. So basically, Rocky or Valentine decides not to worry about it. He's like, I don't know. Anyway, and Pip says, "Well, I'll be around if you ever need me. You can just dial PIP." And he's like, "Okay." So with that, Valentine walks away, and Pip just vanishes into the cabinets, which I love that effect.
The rotary phone with Pip on it's hilarious.
Yes, we get to that in just a second. So it comes down, flashes to like a month later, and he's at the casino, and he's not excited. He's bored out of his mind. He has 3 different women with him now, and he can do anything he wants, and he wins at every game and every single time, and he's getting really frustrated, and he wins at the slot machine again. So they do that kind of show all the things he was so excited to win at before. And at one point we repeat that whole thing of him going up to the apartment, and the women are all in the bed, and he's now talking to the women in the bed, playing poker with them, and one of them got a straight flush, and he got a royal flush. So again, he cannot lose, and he's getting really sick of it, and so he gets really mad, kicks all the women out. And then he goes up to this is one of my favorite parts. He goes up to the table, grabs an apple out of a dish, takes a bite out of it, and he's getting mad, and he's going to toss the apple. He turns around, and the table's a pool table. And he goes up, and he's like, oh, pool. He's like, excited about it. So he goes up there, and he takes a single shot, and all the balls go in all the holes. Like it's like the single perfect shot.
Yeah.
Clearly,
the cuts, the editor did a great job with that particular effect. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really good. And so he breaks the pool cue in his in there, and then goes over and picks up the phone, and it shows you right at the beginning, P, I, and P are the only things on the dial phone. So he does a rotary dial, P, I, P, and Pip appears instantly behind him, and he's like, "What? Stop sneaking up on me!"
Isn't it ironic that his name is one letter away from pimp? I wonder if that was on purpose.
Maybe. That's interesting. Little subtlety there. So he starts complaining about how bored he is, and how when he wins all the time, it's charity. It's not, it's not winning. And he's like, well, I could have you lose once in a while. He's like, yeah, but you're setting it up. It doesn't feel right. He's like, he describes later how when how does he say it? When you're with a dame, if you being a big guy with a dame is great, except if it's all set up ahead of time. And he also Pip suggests, well, maybe you could rob a bank. Maybe you could go back to your old profession. And Rocky's like excited, and he's like, oh, wait, but is there a chance I could get caught? And Pip goes, well, if you wanted there to be one, what kind of getaway car would you like? And he's like, forget it. None of it's good. I'm going crazy here. He's like, here's the thing. I feel like I'm going to go insane if I stay in here. He's like, and this is the quote from this part. This is the ending of the episode. It's so fantastic. I mean, everything is great here. See, really great. It's just the way I imagined it. Always imagined it, except for that. Well, just between you and me, Fats, I don't think I belong here. I don't think I fit in. Oh, nonsense, Pip says. Of course you do. Valentine goes, no, I mean it. I mean it. I just, somebody must have goofed. I got to stay here another day. I'm going to go nuts. Look, I don't belong in heaven. See, I want to go to the other place. And Pip goes, heaven? Whatever gave you the idea that you were in heaven, Mr. Valentine? This is the other place.
What's funny is you are not performing that any larger than the original actor did.
Yeah.
The way he says it is so forceful and over the top. It's hilarious.
Yes, exactly. Yes, thank you. And then Pip starts laughing more.
I love that moment. It's very much one of those moments that probably inspired like the scary door on Futurama, the parody of Twilight Zone.
Yes,
it feels like that.
It's got that good creepy twist ending vibe. And of course the outro, a scared, angry little man who never got a break. Now he has everything he's ever wanted, and he's going to have to live with it for eternity in the Twilight Zone.
See, be careful what you wish for, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
This is I mentioned this last week about how the wish fulfillment theme continues, where I think a lot of it is Serling wrestling. Like, he didn't write this original story. This is Beaumont, but I think both he and Beaumont probably experienced a lot of sudden fame in their fields. So it's just, I really like to see how this theme evolves over the 5 seasons.
There's actually
Oh, I'm sorry, but
go ahead.
I was going to say, Joe, that I think we've had I was just wondering if you remember, have we had like 3 episodes with this theme so far, maybe? but it's okay if you don't remember. We don't need to think about it.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off to ask you that question.
Oh no, I was gonna kind of segue into I just started watching a more modern show with my girlfriend last night called Poker Face with Natasha Lyonne.
That's funny. I was just eyeballing that.
And it's this first episode was pretty awesome. And there's this moment where she's arguing with the guy about making a bunch of money. And the guy's played by Adrian Brody, plays a great sleazy guy. And he's like, I could make you rich. And she says, I've been rich. She said, and he goes, how is it? And she says, better than being broke, harder than being just fine, or harder than doing fine. And I was like, oh, I love the way that she positioned that,
Yeah. Well, I remember they used to say, like, people back then, this was the 40K was a marker of happiness for household income, like more than 10 years ago. I think that study was.
Yeah. I actually remember I heard that was something like $72,000 or $74,000 was like the one line that somebody drew, and again that might have been in the late 90s or something.
Oh, really? Yeah. So I guess like 100K now, probably at least.
Yeah, who knows?
If there's any science behind it at all, there's not. Really.
Right. Sometimes you hear that and it sounds so scientific, and then it's like, oh, that was just somebody asked a bunch of people what they thought, and then
it's the Family Feud answers.
So next week is Nightmare as a Child.
Straight horror one.
And I'm not sure if I remember. Is this the one that was remade in the movie?
No, that's what is the name of that one? It's not this one. That's the Billy Mooney episode. Where, where he has the psychic powers. This one, Nightmare as a Child, it's like kind of like almost a ghost story. This lady sees this little girl in her apartment. She can't explain where she came from, kind of thing.
Ooh.
Spooky. Yeah, spooky.
Serling said in his promo for it that it's one that you should watch if you have trouble, if you don't want to sleep at night, or something like. How did he say it? The way he said it was like,
if you have trouble staying. What was it? He said it in a clever way.
Yeah, the way he.
For those of you who sleep too comfortably at night or something like that.
Yes, something like that. Those of you who are sleeping too well at night.
That's what it was. Yeah. Whoops. Hit my phone. Sorry.
Good stuff. But I'm
looking forward to that.
Wish fulfillment twist. Good stuff.
I like the scary
next week,
episode.
Scary stuff.
Yeah, scary. Bring on the scary.
You got it.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Freddie. Bye, y'all.
All y'all. Thank you.